For anyone that's tuned in enough, we can sense when something's off. We can sense, based on, like, this is the cool thing about emotions. It tells us, like, what the fuck is up. So, when things seem really off and you can't really, feel happy or whatever, like, things just kind of feel kind of gray and just weird, that's a time to pay attention to that. Like, I know a lot, and I know a lot of people say, oh, think positively and stuff. No, because, like, it's actually there to tell you something. Like, there's something that you can learn about and, like, find truth to, and you can make changes or new decisions to move forward from there. So there's a few different ways that we can access this kind of information. I'm just going to talk about 3 today, from the best of my knowledge. So I guess the first one is dreams. Like, that's a very common one. We often get, anxiety dreams or crazy things happening in our dreams that sometimes they repeat themselves, or they're kind of, you know what I mean? Like, they really have like a subliminal message. Usually if you're being chased, for example, that means that you're running from something. It's funny because the other day I had a dream I was running from something, and I did a meditation on it, and this kind of ties in with the next one I want to talk about. But I had a dream I was running away from a serial killer, and then I did a meditation and I asked myself, okay, why am I seeing this person? Why was this happening? And I had a few answers come up. I don't really want to, I don't know if I should say this on here, but damn, it was quite the experience. I'm just drinking my coffee too. Sorry. It's really good coffee. But yeah, there's, for example, I knew things weren't working out with this boyfriend of mine a couple years back, and a lot of differences, and I kind of knew, like, you can kind of feel it coming. Like, this is what I mean when I say you feel like something's off or whatever. And then one time, like, this was probably the night before we broke up, I had a dream of, like, just craziness, like the whole world was kind of falling apart and, like, lava everywhere, and like, I saw, my guy, and he was, like, kind of knocked down. Like, he was just kind of like, I don't care anymore, and he just kind of, like, walked away, and, like, he was, like, and he was actually being hurtful. Not in real life, it's just in the dream he was. And I remember, chatting a lot with his brother about the situation. He was kind of just being like, trying like the marriage counselor in a sense. So this was happening in my dream. And literally, it was either the next day or 2 days later, we broke up. And of course, I felt my whole world fall apart and stuff, because I'm a romantic that way. But, and it's true, I was talking a lot with his brother because him and I were homies, and it's just weird stuff like that. Like, it's so cool what your subconscious is trying to tell you. Your subconscious knows a lot more than us in the waking world, which is kind of ironic, because it's like, when we're awake we're asleep, but when we're asleep we know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird, but some good shit. No. So the second one too is accessing what we call the Akashic records, and that one's kind of crazy. That one's, I find, is a little more difficult. You really have to calm your mind, and of course leave it blank as you can. So I guess the only example I could really think of was that time I was dreaming about that serial killer, and I was like, okay, now that's brought to my attention, what the fuck did that mean, right? And I couldn't figure out what it meant at the time. Like, I knew it meant I was running from something. So I think I'll tell you this now, actually. I feel ready for it. But so I meditated on this, and I went my mind completely blank. It was black in there. And I said, why was I running from this? What am I running from? What am I running from? I asked this over and over and over again in my head as I meditated. And then all of a sudden it said, like, you're running from your own shit. You're running from confrontation. You're running from, like, just all this stuff. All these answers came up. And I was like, what the fuck? And and then I realized, yeah, like, you know what, yeah, like in a lot of ways, like I run from conflict, confrontation. Like when things get rough in my relationships with people, I peace out. I just, there's part of me that just doesn't want to deal with it, and it's because in a lot of ways I didn't want to deal with my own shit going on. So it's just so fascinating what you can access just by tuning in or analyzing your dreams. Like the answers are there for you if you really want to know, but it's about being real with yourself and being willing to look into what's actually happening. I'm gonna have another sip of my coffee. And then we have another way which is quite beautiful. I went to a couple of meditation ceremonies with a shaman practitioner, and they tell you you have spirit guides or other aspects to your consciousness that maybe aren't in the physical world, that are, whether they're passed on loved ones or just the spirit of an animal, which is just the energetic vibration that is symbolized by that animal that is resonating with you, if that makes sense. So we have the upper world, which is full of the, ancestral spirits, the passed on loved ones and things like that. Don't mind that sound. And any kind of, I think you can even tune into certain deities and things like that. Like, however it may look to you is how it is, but that's what we call the upper world spirits, the upper world. And so then we have the middle world, which is just kind of, that one's a little more sketch. That one has a lot of energies that could do with, anything. It's, like, it often talks about, like, mermaids and, like, spirits of, like, the lake and blah, blah, blah. So it can get a little, it's less about, it's not really attached to us. It's the world in the physical world. So it's got a lot of mixed energy. It's not the safest. It's the best way I could really say this, but we're kind of in the middle world, so we're more connected to the love and guidance from the upper world and lower world. Sorry. And so the lower world is the symbolism that each animal is the animal kingdom. So you can connect to plant spirits and animal spirits, anything kind of naturey. And I feel like if you want to, some people get a little intimidated and they think this is some magical stuff here. But I mean, one way to look at it is like, the spirit of a lion, for example, like just the energy they bring, like really bold, like the leader kind of thing, right? So it's like that is that energy that's just being presented in an image. So anyway, one thing you can do is you can go through a meditative journey, and you can communicate, and you can ask, set your intention to meet your lower world spirit animal, which will have a message for you in it to tell you something, and then you can go up to the upper world and see, like, if there's deities you can connect to or ancestral guides, and you can even ask a question going into the meditation, and when you can really tune in and really clear your mind, you can get information from that. Some good coffee. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Like, there's just so many ways you could tap into your own consciousness, or I like to say what's going on behind the curtain, because however you want to look at it, but we all have that kind of access to information in regards to, like, what we need to know to live our lives the way that is best for us, what our purpose is, our meaning, or just what's going on for us. Like, it's good for even daily guidance, and just figuring out, okay, well, why do I feel this way? Why have I been feeling this way? And you go from there, you'll find some answers, and then it's about, this is why I never want people to run away from their emotions, because they're actually trying to tell you something, and it's just going into the subconscious is where you're going to find the answers more often than not. I mean, of course you can still do it, but yeah, it's pretty cool stuff, guys. See you later.